Alright, so welcome to the miscellany. Today we're going to be creating a wood/resin piece with a beautiful red pine wood as well as some sea green resin that we're going to use some hodgepodge resin and catalyst just to make. So without further ado, let's get started. So here I'm just going to be taking the piece to a belt sander because I'm going to need to get a general shape down before I cast, and I'm not really going to worry about perfecting my shape too much right here because I'm just going to have to sand it back down anyways. So here you're just going to see me switch to the vertical attachment on the belt sander. What I'm going to do here is use the angles to actually round off the top of the piece. So I finished creating the rough shape of the piece, so I'm just going to create the mold using this piece of a tree branch, some tape, and hot glue. It's really important that when you use the hot glue, you seal off the bottom very well because that's the most prone part to leakage. So now that the mold is finished, I'm going to add the resin. I'm going to add about 4 drops of catalyst because it's about a ½ ounce of resin, and that's what the instructions call for. After this, I'm going to add a little bit of green dye, preferably about 4 to 1 part blue dye, and I'm going to mix that thoroughly and then pour it into the mold. So here I'm actually setting up the piece so that when I have it sitting in the mold, it's not actually going to be going all the way straight through the resin to the bottom, because I'm going to want a nice long piece of resin along with my piece of wood. So I let the resin dry for about 4 hours, and then I come back and I start sanding off all the excess so that way I can get down to a nice flush piece. Alright, I am going to have to re-dip this and recast it because the other side still has a pretty big notch out of it, and I'm going to need to fill that with resin. Alas, after grinding away on the belt sander, we finally reached the point where we can start putting the finishing edges on the shaping with the Dremel. And finally, we have a decent shape so I can actually start the sanding process. From here, I use about a 250 with the brown paper, and then I go up to a 300 grit with the red paper, and finally to the black paper, which starts at a 400. Then I advance to a 600, a 2000, and finally a 3000 grit with the red sponge. Now, there was a step I forgot to record, my apologies guys. Right after the red sponge, I did use a buffing pad on my Dremel with a buffing solution. So that did really add that extra shine to it. As you can see, our finished product is something I'm really proud of and she really enjoyed. Alright, so you've made it to the end of the video. I hope you guys liked, and if you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed everything as much as I enjoyed making it. Peace.